And we are back. Please follow us on Twitter at Africa Biz Radio, Facebook Africa Business Radio, hashtag HRWired. Drop us an email, info@africabusinessradio.com, and then go to the App Store and the iStore, download our app, the African Business Radio app, and you can take us on your mobile wherever you are, and you can interact with us, send us messages, etc., etc. All right, big jam-packed show today. We're trying to rush it along. Our last segment, getting hired. Now, this is a topic that's, as I said, continually comes up. And reason being is that it's quite pervasive in the industry. It's the importance of reference checks on job applications. And on the line, we've got Rudi Kruger, General Manager of LexisNexis Data Services, who's going to run us through the importance and what's happening in the industry according to reference checks, etc., on job applications. Good morning, Rudi. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, well, and yourself?
Fantastic. So, LexisNexis Data Services, can you give us a rundown who you guys are, what you do, your reason for existence?
Right, so LexisNexis is a global organization. We do various solutions in the market. What we're going to talk about today is our reference check solution.
Yeah.
And it's a solution that allows employers to vet employees and look at various types of checks to make sure the candidate they're employing, they know who the candidate is and got the qualifications to do the job.
Okay, so my first question, to just sort of set the scene, is it a pervasive problem that people are misrepresenting themselves, their qualifications at interviews by sending their CVs through, etc., etc.?
This is most definitely, especially in today's jobs market, it's tough to get a job. So I think people do inflate the job experiences, and mostly we see is fraudulent qualification checks. Matric checks seems to be the highest of all the qualification checks being fraudulently presented.
Matric, you say?
Yeah, matric is the biggest. I mean, and that's matric leavers. So they change their marks and their symbols on a particular application, or if they fail, they will inflate a mark on one of the subjects to make sure they have got a pass.
Yeah, welcome to the age of Photoshop, eh?
Yeah, that's easy to do. I mean, it takes a couple of seconds to go and actually do these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And are recruitment agents, are employers guilty of not doing their due diligence, going out there and actually checking these things?
Listen, I think the larger organizations do go out and do reference checking on their candidates. It seems like the smaller corporates don't necessarily tend to do it, and only after the fact, and they see that this individual can't do the job properly, they will come to us and do reference checks. So most of your large organizations do reference checks on an ongoing basis.
So what is the reason behind the smaller companies not doing it? Are there cost implications, or is it too tedious? Is there not enough manpower?
Most of the cases, cost implications, but it's a small fee to pay. Example, like academic qualification can cost you like 50 rand. It's not an expensive check to go and do.
Yeah.
So spending 50 rand up front to make sure the candidate's got necessary qualifications shouldn't be a detergent for you to actually not want to do those type of checks. So, yeah, and it might be this that they don't have the necessary skills in the smaller companies to recognize the importance of qualification checks or reference checks.
Absolutely. And I mean, especially in these smaller companies, you've got one HR manager or one HR practitioner that has got to handle the entire HR gamut. And that includes the payroll and the hiring and the firing and the checking CVs. And we posted a job for a salesperson, and I think we got over 400 applications. How do you vet over 400 applications if you don't? And you're a small company. You know, you're a small to medium enterprise.
Yeah, look, it's we all get a type of applications where you actually drown in applications. First of all, you need to screen the CVs to identify the top 5. And once you identify the top 5, I will suggest do interviews, and the last 2 candidates, I need to screen in the last 2, so I don't have to worry about screening everyone in the application, because that's going to be costly.
Yeah.
You only want to screen the last 2 to make sure that you 100% satisfied the employees and their capabilities.
Oh, that's a fantastic tip, actually. Just the cream of the crop that have come to the top.
Exactly, yeah. So don't do it in all of it, because that's going to cost you. literally thousands of rand.
It had never occurred to me. So now the guys want to do some reference checks. They want to do some qualifications checks. They want to do various things. How do they go about this process?
This is a very simple process. There's an online solution, so you don't need to install any software. There's no monthly service fees. It's a transactional basis, so you create an account on RefCheck. Once you got an account, every time you process a check, we would only charge you for the check, and then everything's get online. So if you want to do a qualification check, select the qualification check, insert information, and upload your certificate, and we will do verification within 24 hours. And it depends what check you want to do. So anything from real time to 2 days to turn around to vet a CV of any type of individual.
And this is all automated?
All automated. You don't have to touch anything. It's literally 20 seconds to upload the information into the system, and we'll get back to you with answers on that CV.
And are there any restrictions to this? I mean, I want to check that, say, Bob Johnson's coming to work for me. I want to know he's got matric. I want to know he's got a varsity degree. And then I want to know that the last 5 companies he worked for are, in fact, real. Or where do you guys, what do you guys do?
So we recommend that everyone walks through your office, you get them to sign an indemnity form. So we've got preset indemnity forms where the candidate will tick boxes and sign indemnity saying they give the company full permission to do reference checks on them.
Okay.
Which will include criminal, credit, academic, whatever the source of data. So companies protected that they are allowed to do it. But in certain cases, like if you do criminal credit checks, you have to do prescribed purposes. So you have to have a job description saying that the individual will handle cash and finance, or else you're not allowed to do it. But it's the only check that's got some rules around it.
I was just about to ask that, the legalities around delving into somebody's personal life, specifically their criminal record and their credit checks and stuff. So you need to get your indemnity form signed, or your whatever the case may be, in order for this to... And then, okay, so once that is done and you find that A, the guy's got a criminal record, or B, a bad credit record, where does the law stand about hiring or not hiring these people due to those factors?
The laws, you need to make a decision on the candidate on various factors. You can't only do background screening and make decisions on that. But saying that, you will get information back in the information, like a criminal record. If you're in a financial institution, you don't want to employ someone that was previously convicted of fraud. So you want to take that one off the table. But if someone had a drunk driving case against them, you say, well, it's nothing to do with my disability to do his financial job. So you can actually hire that individuals.
Yeah.
So you need to be subjective in the results you're looking at to make sure you actually make a decision.
That's fantastic. No, this is the way to go. And when taking into consideration all of the background checks and qualification checks that you guys have been doing, do you have any figures for us on the percentage of falsified credentials, falsified qualifications that are being put through?
Yeah, so it varies quite a bit during the month. Normally January, February is being seen to be the highest results or negative information come back. So on average, you're looking at criminal checks, probably about anything between 10 and 15% of individuals applying for jobs got criminal records against their names, which a large majority is drunk driving.
Okay.
And then on your matric qualifications, I mean, January, February, we can ramp up to 20% of fraudulent matric qualifications we get.
Wow.
So that's by far the biggest fraudulent application that we do get. And then for some odd reason, engineering qualifications do come back with quite a lot of fraudulent applications.
Oh, engineering?
Yeah.
Sorry. Wow. Okay.
I think it's a very high sort of job, and it's people looking for engineers all the time, and there's a shortage of them, so people do tend to fraudulently present themselves.
God, the last person you want building a building is a guy who doesn't actually have his engineering qualification.
Exactly.
We were chatting the other day about an airline. I won't mention names, but it was found that somewhere in the region of 40% of the pilots had bought their license.
I can believe it, actually.
And this came out after one of the Boeings ran off the end of a runway, and they checked his qualifications, and they found that it was bought. And then they did a screening of the entire staff, and over 40% of the pilots had No, once that is also my producer's busy sitting laughing because it scared the hell out of us. You want to know, as the public, and I mean as a corporate, you want to ensure the safety of your patrons, of your customers, of those people who work around you. This is not merely just catching people out in a lie. This is ensuring the safety and welfare and well-being of all those people who work around you, especially if it's in a high-risk environment.
100%. We had a story where one of our customers did a verification check on an individual, but they didn't do a criminal fingerprint check. And about 6 months later, they realized that the person who came for the interview was actually the twin. So they allowed someone into a high-risk security area, and they conducted incorrect checks on this person because they didn't take the fingerprints. And if they did fingerprints check, we would have picked it up that this individual's got a criminal record.
Oh, but he just assumed the identity of his twin. Or her twin.
He just assumed it. He went in, they never did a criminal check, and we never linked the fingerprints to his ID number. So he went through the process, and it's, I can't say where, but it's a very high risk area.
No, absolutely. But that's that, and some people sort of, I don't know, poo-poo the idea of doing this and say that it's not really necessary. But I think in the 3 stories we've just told, we find that it is vitally important. As you say, you don't want a convicted fraudster handling your books on a monthly basis. You don't want a pilot with a bus driver's license flying you to bloody Paris. No. You know, I cannot stress this enough. And on top of that, it's going to affect your productivity and your profitability if you haven't got the right people in the right place at the right time.
Especially someone with a qualification where they present themselves as an MBA. And we had cases around the news for the last couple of years with high-profile individuals presenting themselves with MBAs, and they're sitting in a CEO position, but they can't do the job properly because they don't have the qualification to actually go and do it.
Yeah.
So we need to go and do those checks. And then we need to take action against people that present their qualifications fraudulently.
Are there legal ramifications for people who misrepresent themselves?
Look, the company can open a case against that individual and present it as a fraudulent application they receive. We do load those fraudulent applications to a database called South African Fraud Prevention Services, where we keep a record of it. So if anyone else do a check an individual, they'll show they represented fraudulent qualification documentation. But I know that there's talks in the industry that they are wanting to actually force us to report it to the police services and make a physical fraudulent case against this individual presenting it negatively. But nothing as yet.
Yeah, look, you know what? We're going to need to wrap up, but a final word from, you know what? I don't condone it. And I've said this on numerous occasions, but I do understand. In a country where the unemployment rate is somewhere in 27%, but in reality it's well over 40%. You can understand people to try their luck. I mean, yes, it's not right, but we can understand. Anyway, Rudi, thank you so much. Some great information there, some great advice to protect prospective HR managers when they're doing their hiring. Where can guys get hold of you? What's your website?
They can go into www.revcheck.co.za.
R-E-V, R-E-F.
R-E-F.
Yeah, check.
C-H-E-C-K. RevCheck.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Rudi. Hopefully we can chat to you in the future.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.
Human resources can no longer be regarded as a paper-pushing job. It is vital that the HR function is at the heart of your organizational structure, playing a part in all strategic, tactical, and operational decisions. It is about making employers realize that the most valuable assets in the arsenal are employees. HR is about achieving organizational goals through people and creating incentives that align employee objectives with the organization's mission statement.